Hey, you guys. How's things? Hope you guys are all doing okay. Okay, so last time I was here, we were just doing some collaging on some file folders. And so since then, it's been a few days, just kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do. I decided that I'm going to turn a lot of those into some mini journals since I haven't made minis for quite a while. And so I cut each file folder so it was like opened up flat, you know. I cut each one into 4 little mini covers, okay? Um, so I didn't add a whole lot more to my collages. I just really did a little bit of masking tape and a little bit of like, you know, the decoupage paper or whatever. Some stamps and stuff. So anyway, so they're all just kind of random. Where I folded these, I did get some cracking, you know, because a lot of this paper is really old. And of course you're, you know, folding a thick piece of paper. Sometimes it's, you know, it's going to crack. So anyway, but that's not a huge deal. So then what I decided to do was just sort of keep them a little bit simple. And I'm just going to use some of these. I mentioned I just wanted to use some of these little images. And so I pulled out, I have some of these old vintage photo corners, you know. So I'm just using some of those on these little images. I printed these on some photo paper, so it's sort of glossy and pretty. And I'm just putting the corners on. These were supposed to be red. I think they've just faded over the last 7 decades. These are really old photo corners. And then sometimes when I get those old photo albums, I'll actually save the photo corners if they're you know, there. I'll just reuse them. So I'm not bothering to glue the photo corners onto the image. I'm just, you know, gluing everything down all at once. Just kind of offset it a little bit. Making sure that I don't have glue oozing out. I do want to do some stitching on these, but before I do that, I want to... So here's my plan. First of all, I gotta finish putting you know, just some kind of little image on the front of each of these. I've done a whole bunch already. So I've got a whole stack of them here. So I'm going to do those. And then I want to do some pockets on the inside of each one. But I kind of don't really like this paper. You know, I just think it's kind of blah, you know. So I cut out some pieces of scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to line the inside of each one of these covers with a piece of scrapbook paper. But before I do that, I want to add my pockets. And I'm also going to do some machine stitching before I attach this. I hope that makes sense. So these are just those little mini paper bags that I love from Hobby Lobby, and then some little library card pockets. So I'm just gluing some pieces of ledger paper onto these. I cut these into strips that would sort of fit one way or the other. Whoops, this is not one. So I know that these are, the library pockets are 2.5 inches tall. Two and a half inches tall, so I'm just gluing that down. I measured a bunch of these pieces of ledger pages and then just cut them on the paper trimmer. So at least I know that, you know, one measurement is correct, and then I'll just trim this off with the scissors. And then I've got some that just pieces, you know, and since the library pockets and the little paper bags both have a straight edge on the top, that makes it pretty easy. Easier than cutting each piece to size. And then I can kind of decide, you know, which part of the ledger I want on the front. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I could scooch it over one way or the other, just, you know, depending on, like, say this one where, you know, there really isn't anything over here, but maybe I want these numbers right along the edge or something. So anyway, I just cut them sort of to size, not exactly to size. Anyway, so I'm going to do a whole bunch of those, and I've already got a few others that I've done. These are going to be kind of fancy, you guys, a little bit fancy. Anyway, so I'll trim these off. Those I trimmed already. Just kind of carefully, without cutting the envelope open, just trimming them down. To about, I don't know, I don't know how many covers I have, but I think there's like around 32 or so. So I might as well do extra. If I'm going to do 30 of them, I might as well do 50, right? And I mean, I have lots of those little paper bags and lots of the library pockets, and so if I'm doing it, I might as well just go for it. Anyway, so just basically just to cover up that plain paper that's there. Okay, so I've got a few of those trimmed, and then I still want to keep these relatively simple, but I'm going to do just a little bit of stitching around the edges of these pockets also. But before I do that, I just kind of want to, as Wendy would say, zhuzh them up a little bit, you know. And one of the things I thought would be kind of fun would be to use some of these slide frames. And it's kind of cool. Sometimes you can actually use both sides. Yeah, I just want the frame. So I'm kind of gently and pull this out. I kind of mangled this one, but that's okay. It's not terrible. I can kind of like glue it back together. Let's do a little repair on it. Okay. So see, that one's not bad. I mean, it doesn't have much on it, but that's okay. You can still see like the date and stuff. And then just a little piece of, oh my goodness, where did I put those? Here they are. So before I cut those collaged pieces into to size for the covers, I scanned them so that I could use those collages in other ways. And then I printed them obviously smaller because they were like, I don't know, 17 by 11, something like that. So I've just I printed out a whole bunch of them. And then just want to take this frame and kind of frame out a little piece of this collage where I want to use it. Like that. Making sure I cut on the inside of my line. And then I just thought it would be kind of cool to use these as like little tuck spots on the front. Just grabbing some, this is actually what's it called? What's that stuff called? Duralar. I get it on Amazon. You can find it at Michael's too. I think it's a little bit cheaper on Amazon, but it's just clear film, not acetate. It's like a kind of like a fake acetate, or just like transparency film or something like that for overhead projectors. Anyway, I just like to have a little piece of it on the frame just because I think it looks cool. Very small amount of glue because I really don't want it pushing out into that part. So like that. And then, so see, it's tedious. It's sort of tedious, but this is my idea. This is, I like to make things more complicated, you know? Anyway, so that, and then can just do like a sort of like a little bit more, almost like collage on there. We could put a postage stamp. You're not going to see the whole entire thing because we're doing that frame. Don't really want to use a label. This is just a box of random ephemera type stuff, you know. Most of this is the Tim Holtz pieces, the field notes. Let's see. What I should do is just go through here and pick out all the little tiny pieces first. No, that's a funny little bee that you can't really see very good. Okay, how about this little mushroom? Or, hold on, or a little butterfly, or one of these little beetles, you know, just little bits. And I've got all these words in here too that I've cut out. So we're just doing like a little mini collage type of thing in here. Let's glue this postage stamp down. And maybe just a little mushroom. Doesn't need much glue. Like that. Can you guys see? Hope you can see. You can see. You can pretty much see. A little bit of glare right there, I guess. And then got this little tiny word. It says breathe. Let's glue that on there. Somewhere where I feel like you're going to be able to see it. Usually I use my tweezers when I do this. There. Yeah, see? It'll be so cute. Okay, then you can kind of see the paper's kind of sticking out, but not a huge deal. Anyway, and then I think it might be kind of cute to actually do some zigzag around that border or something. So obviously this is something that I would do, like I'll have a whole stack of them and I'll just work on, you know, make like 30 or 40 of these instead of doing, you know, each one individually. But I just thought that would be kind of cool to add as a little element on the front of the pocket, and it could even be like a little tuck spot. So I'm just going to glue it down a little bit, even though, like I said, I think it would be kind of neat to just do a little bit of zigzag around the edge of it. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to do that on this one, but because I just kind of wanted to show you guys what my plan was. So I'll just be, you know, doing lots and lots of these. Okay, and then, so then, you know, do something similar on this. So each journal will have one of each of these on the inside cover. So, I mean, I could just do some other kind of, just one of these little pieces of ephemera or something, you know. Might as well use this. Or like a little cluster or something. I found a whole stack of clusters that I made a long time ago, and I forgot about them. But so I've got a whole bunch of them that I had in this container, so I could use these on, you know, different pages and stuff too in the little mini journals. And then, so see what I mean about doing some stitching on the frames? I just think it looks cool. So just like a little tiny collage inside a frame, or you could do like a little image like that, you know. And I've made these into little charms too. So just add a little grommet or something. Anyway, so that was like, when I opened this container, I was like, oh yeah, I remember doing those. So then I thought, okay, well, I could just do a whole bunch more of those. Anyway, so these little guys, and then just do a very thin, like row of stitching around the border. It took me a while to get this all together today so that I could show you guys exactly what I'm doing. But, and I just thought you might be inspired a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to pull my sewing machine out and just do this stitching really quick because I want to show you what I plan to do with the covers. It's all dusty. Hold the phone. I just keep my sewing machine right here on the floor in front of next to my desk, and it just gets super dusty. Anyway. Okay. I miss my brother machine because it has the hand control. Don't have to use a foot pedal with it. Anyway, let's make sure we're threaded okay. So I'm just going to do, like I said, just a row of straight stitch right around the border of this little pocket. If anybody's wondering about this machine, this is the Singer Heavy Duty. I've seen these at Joann's lately. Okay, so I am going to stitch over this slide frame, but you know, if you're doing this on your machine, just make sure you're comfortable with doing that. Like, it's kind of thick, but if you go slow, you can get it through there. Okay. So that and that. And let's see. Here's my cover. Let's use a couple different I did cut the scrapbook paper to fit inside these, but some of the covers might be slightly off, so okay. So this is basically my liner page, my liner paper for the inside cover. So I'm going to glue these down. It's taken me days, literally days, to figure out what I was going to do with these little journals, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. Okay, so I probably could have glued it down and then done that stitching on there, but I don't know. That's just the way it worked out. Okay. So those are on pretty good. All right, and then on the covers, also, I thought it would be kind of cute to put a little book plate. Since I've got all of these I did get on Amazon. I think it was a pack of 100. They weren't super expensive either, so I can put a link in the description for that item on Amazon if they're still available. I'm not 100% sure that they are, but I thought it would be kind of cool to add a little book plate. And then I bought this set of number grungy mini labels by Saturday Stamper on Etsy. So, and these are actually a perfect size to fit behind these little book plates. So I'm going to cut out a couple of those. Actually, I really like this one right here. I'll also leave a link in the description to this listing on Etsy. If I forget to do it, just remind me. I'm getting old, y'all. Anyway, so I'm just going to glue this on to the cover. Actually, I'm going to offset it just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then see, that fits over it just perfect. So grab a little awl, open this up. Wait, let me grab my foam real quick. Okay, there we go. And then some brads. sometimes hard to do this kind of stuff when you can't put your head right over it. All right, so there's one. So this is another reason why I wanted to line the inside of the cover with something else. And you got to do this before you, oh, I dropped it. Got to do this before you put the liner on, right? Because I wanted to cover up the back side of these brads. All right, so there's the little book plate. And then, oh, dang it. You know what? I screwed up. Hold on. I forgot. I forgot something. Wait a minute. Process. It's all about this like process and the timing of when you do certain things, right? So I can't put this on yet. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Okay. I want to stitch around this cover first. And of course the cord got stuck on my chair. Man, I am totally out of practice doing this. Doing this video thing. Anyway, so I thought it would be kind of cool to do some stitching around this image, but then I changed my mind. I don't really think I want to. Anyway, so I'm just going to do kind of like a messy, maybe 2 rows of stitching around the edge of this cover. So I'm going to go kind of fast. And I know this sewing machine is louder than the other one, than my other machine. But the other machine is still in pieces. Okay, I'm going to switch this to zigzag. Okay, and then back to a straight stitch. Okay. Sorry guys. You know what? I think I want to do, I don't know. I was thinking about maybe doing some kind of like book tape or something on the spine here. But I don't know. I think I'm just going to do, I might do that on some of the other ones, but for this one, I'm just going to not. Okay, and then on these pockets, or excuse me, on these liner pages, I also want to do some messy stitching. So I'm doing them separate because I didn't want the underside of my stitching to be on this paper, right? You know what I mean? And I'm just going to do 1 row on this liner page. Gotta go around again on this one because I went off the page. Okay. I went off the paper. So those are the worst thread cutting scissors ever. They're great for paper, but I've abused them so much they don't really work that well on thread anymore. Anyway, so then I can put the book plate on. Going to add a little bit of glue right where I know that these are, right where these are, so that I know this paper will actually, you know, glue on those, like glue those down. So I'm just going to do like a little bit of glue right where those are. And then I want to get these nice and stuck onto the edges. So this one, I mean, it's just ever so slightly too tall. But anyway, so that's the little liner on the inside. Let's do this one. I don't know if you guys can hear that sprinkler. I think I mentioned this before, but I'm kind of obsessed with this sprinkler that I got for my mom. It's like one of those tractor ones that kind of creeps along the hose, you know. It's so cool. Okay, so that's that. When this dries, it should be nice and, you know, it's nice and heavy, like a nice little book cover, you know. And then, and it's still nice and flexible, you know, like gluing the, I didn't want to add a bunch of paper on the inside of this cover because I didn't want it to be so thick, you know, to bend in half. I wanted that to be two pieces so that the hinge, you know, the fold would be down the center of those so that it would still close nicely. I think on some of the other ones, like I said, I may do a little strip of washi tape or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, so that's my little covers. This one needs just a little bit of a trim right there. But that the art glitter glue just really holds well. So I feel pretty good about the security of that all the way along the edges. You know, each one probably have to go along and just make sure, but, and then I could round these corners a little bit, or I was also thinking it might be kind of fun to do, you know, that it's a Martha Stewart punch that does the photo corners. I don't know where the punch is at the moment. It's somewhere in a drawer, but anyway, a long time ago, I had punched out a bunch of these little photo corners. So I thought it might be kind of fun to add one of those onto these corners. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. If I do that on some of the next ones that I'm working on, I might add this before I put the liner paper on, so that the back side of the photo corner is hidden in between the two pieces of paper, you know. Anyway, so I have those pulled out for that. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm doing with these little mini covers. So I've got a whole bunch of little pockets I need to work on, and then a bunch of fussy cutting. I've got to cut these out. These are really cool. I love these labels. And then I'm also just going to make a bunch of tags. So I haven't gotten to that point yet, but see, I just cut those file folder pieces, those file folders that I collaged into just all kinds of different size tags. So some of them are most of these are going to be too big to use in these, so I may have to trim them down a little bit, because I'd like to use these in those mini journals. But anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's where I'm at. I'm going to make a whole bunch more of these little collages in the little frames. And yeah, I think I need to go through this thing and pull out all the little tiny pieces before I start working on that, and also do some fussy cutting. I have some other stuff that I'd like to fussy cut and use in these little mini collages, and some little tiny labels and things like that. So anyway, so I'm back on track a little bit here. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time. Okay? All right. I love you guys. Bye for now.